If you're following the NFL, and especially what's happening in Chiefs Kingdom, you know the real wild card game isn't actually happening on the field this weekend.
Oh, not at all.
It's happening in virtual meeting rooms. It's where the rest of the league is basically trying to poach the architects of all that Kansas City success.
Desperately trying, yeah.
And we know you're looking for that shortcut, the real truth about what this latest coaching raid really means. And while right now, all eyes seem to be on the Titans.
Absolutely. So our mission in this deep dive is to really unpack the source material here. We're looking at this aggressive pursuit of not one, but two key Chiefs coordinators.
Right.
You've got offense coordinator Matt Nagy and defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo, or we just call them Spags.
And we're focusing mostly on Nagy, right?
Yeah, the primary focus is Nagy. The Titans have scheduled a virtual sit-down with him for this Thursday, according to Mike Garafo. And this feels less like a coaching search and more like a targeted extraction.
An extraction, I like that.
Yeah, which forces us to ask, what does Nagy's potential exit truly cost the Chiefs dynasty? And maybe more importantly, what does it reveal about the fragility of their success?
And the reason this isn't just a standard interview request, the context here is just everything.
Mm-hmm.
The Titans just hired former Chiefs exec Mike Borgoni as their GM last year. And this guy, Borgoni, he was deeply embedded in the Chiefs front office for a stunning 16 years.
16 years. That's an incredible amount of time.
From 2009 right up to 2024. He didn't just see the blueprint. He helped build the whole foundation.
So this move is totally calculated.
Completely. He knows exactly which coaches worked, which systems worked, and now it feels like he's trying to just lift that entire winning strategy and drop it right into Nashville.
That familiarity is, it's gold for the Titans. It means they're not just guessing. They're hiring known quantities who already get the whole Reid ecosystem.
But we have to scrutinize what that quantity actually is, right?
Yeah.
Especially with Nagy.
Exactly. We have to start with Matt Nagy's high-stakes career arc, because it's this fascinating mix of brilliance and complete collapse. He is completely tied to Andy Reid's success, going all the way back to 2013 when he first joined the Chiefs as a QB coach.
So he really internalized that whole intricate West Coast system. He learned the rhythm, the language, all the complexity of how Reid builds an offense.
He did, and he rose fast, showed huge potential.
Yeah.
But then came what our sources are calling the Chicago paradox.
Okay, the Chicago paradox. Let's break that down.
Well, the paradox is the defining feature of his resume. He gets the Bears head coaching job, and immediately he delivers. Goes 12-4 in 2018, wins Coach of the Year.
The absolute peak.
The absolute height of his independence. But that success was so fleeting. Once defenses kind of caught up to his concepts, his offensive imagination just seemed to, dry up without Reid's mentorship.
To the point where by the time he was fired, the Bears' offense was ranking as low as 29th in scoring.
29.
So that's where I have to kind of challenge this a bit. If Nagy led an offense that was bottom 5 in the league when he had a full control, why are we treating his potential departure from KC now as some kind of organizational crisis?
That's the core tension, right?
Is the issue that he's a great assistant, but maybe not a great system builder?
I think that's exactly it. His failure in Chicago, it wasn't just the low ranking, it was a complete lack of adaptability. He became predictable. And his play calling, especially in the red zone and late in games, it was conservative and, frankly, often confusing.
So his return to KC in 2022, first as a senior offensive assistant, then OC, that wasn't just a redemption arc for him.
No, it was a crucial philosophical reset. He came back to be a collaborator. He came back to integrate his modern RPO ideas back into the established, successful Reid framework instead of trying to carry the whole thing himself.
And that collaboration really defines the current KC offensive identity. It's not the pure West Coast offense from Reid's early days.
Not at all.
Our sources describe it as a symphony of speed and precision.
Which is a good way to put it. It means blending Reid's traditional concepts, the detailed route trees, the short, accurate passes, with these modern run-pass options.
And that RPO element is so critical for a quarterback like Mahomes.
It's everything for him. It maximizes his quick decision-making, his athleticism. He gets to choose on the fly whether to hand off or throw based on what the defense is showing him right at that second. It's a total headache for defensive coordinators.
But there's a balance there, technically.
There is. RPO is dynamic, but it often requires simpler reads for the receivers and less time in the pocket, which can sometimes sacrifice those deep, complex third down plays that Reid is so famous for.
And yet, statistically, the system works, even when it feels clunky. I mean, despite all the noise this year, and there was a lot of noise, the Chiefs still ranked in the top 5 for points per game.
They good.
Mahomes still threw for over 4,100 yards and 27 touchdowns, and Kelce was. I mean, he was an absolute force, getting close to 1,000 yards on 93 catches. The machine still runs.
It is functional, but that question you asked earlier is so vital. If Nagy leaves, what are the Chiefs actually losing? Because we have to dive into the specific inconsistencies of this season. This is where his role as OC gets a little controversial.
Right, they're losing continuity for sure.
Yes, but they might also be losing the guy who was responsible for some of the biggest measurable dips this year.
Okay, so let's get granular on those weak spots. Everyone saw the drops. That's all anyone talked about for weeks.
The drops, the protection issues that forced Mahomes into that full-on improvisation mode, which is amazing to watch.
That's spectacular.
But it's not sustainable. But the single most telling metric was the red zone efficiency.
It was a shocking plummet.
It really was.
Yeah.
Last year, the Chiefs were converting touchdowns in the red zone at an incredible 67% clip.
Which is just elite.
Elite. This year, that rate dropped all the way down to just 55%. That 12-point swing isn't random. That is the difference between a championship offense and one that's constantly settling for field goals. And that is a failure of execution and play design in the most critical part of the field.
So that's measurable pressure right on Nagy's shoulders. What were the specific schematic changes he was trying to make to fix that 55% failure rate?
The sources say he was trying to be aggressive with it. He was tweaking the approach with more targeted use of play-action calls inside the 20.
Trying to get the defense moving side to side.
Exactly. Get them moving horizontally, simplify the reads for the younger receivers. But the struggle suggests that the concepts, specifically Nagy's use of pre-snap motion to create these mismatches, usually for Kelce in the slot, they just weren't working against that tighter coverage.
So losing that continuity right now, after a whole season of trying to refine those ideas?
It means that refinement just stops, dead in its tracks.
And we should mention the injury context. It's not an excuse, but it's a factor. Hollywood Brown missed key time, and veteran guard Joe Thinney's elbow issues meant the O-line was constantly being shuffled. It's hard to build consistency when your personnel is always changing.
It is. But if you connect this potential departure to the competitive landscape, losing this specific offensive architect is a real risk. Nagy was the one pushing the use of motion, finding those specific advantages.
And the other AFC West teams, the Raiders, the Chargers with Herbert, Sean Payton, and the Broncos, they're all actively trying to counter that stuff.
Exactly. Any setback in your offensive flow, any loss of continuity, it means those matchups just get that much harder. The margin for error in the AFC is just shrinking every year.
That shift in competitive balance, it leads us right to this idea of the Casey Launchpad, the idea that this organization is built for succession.
Right.
The fundamental idea of the Reid era isn't that it's built around one genius coordinator. It's that it's a dynamic system built to adapt. So what happens if Nagy leaves, and then Spags, their defensive wizard, follows him out the door?
Well, Andy Reid's response to these questions tells you everything about the organizational mindset. He addressed it right after the season, and his quote just showed supreme confidence. He said, "I probably wouldn't get into that right now, but these are logical questions. I've got great guys on the staff here. Joe Blameyer."
He mentioned him by name.
By name. He said, "You name some of the guys. You can go down the list, but we got some qualified guys here." He was already pointing to his bench.
And that's where we really need to focus on Joe Blameyer. He's been with the Chiefs since 2018, rising from quality control to pass game analyst. What does a pass game analyst actually do that makes him an immediate OC candidate?
He's the technical expert.
Yeah.
His job is the granular dissection of route trees, identifying defensive tendencies, making sure the protection schemes line up perfectly with the passing attack.
He's the internal knowledge keeper.
Essentially, yes. He knows the why of the passing game. Promoting him ensures philosophical continuity. He doesn't have to learn the Reid language. He's already fluent.
And just for some practical context here, the league rules mean the Titans are limited to virtual chats this week.
Right. No in-person meetings until January 19th, after the divisional round.
The system tries to protect competitive balance, but it really feels like the Titans are leveraging that Borgoni connection to get the first verbal commitment.
Oh, they're trying to clone success, which historically is a smart strategy. And Kansas City's history proves why they are the ultimate coaching launchpad. This organization has always been about innovation and succession.
And we're not just talking about the Reid era.
No, not at all.
I mean, think back to Hank Stram. He led them to the Super Bowl IV win in 1970, and his offense was revolutionary. He literally outsmarted the favored Vikings with plays like this 65-toss power trap.
That play is the perfect proof of system strength. For anyone listening who hasn't looked it up, it wasn't complex in its motion, but in its concept, it looked like a sweep, but the blocking scheme intentionally let a defensive tackle through the line.
Only to have a guard immediately block him from the side.
Exactly, creating this huge running lane. It was a calculated risk that relied on perfect execution. That spirit of innovation has always been part of the Chiefs.
And even in the 90s, under Marty Schottenheimer, you saw dominance built through the system, especially on defense with legends like Derek Thomas.
That pass rush. Setting this single-game sack record with 7 against the Seahawks. It just shows that the culture of fostering elite talent on both sides of the ball is just baked into the franchise's DNA.
And that's the foundation that allowed the modern dynasty machine, ignited by Andy Reid in 2013, to flourish. 3 Super Bowl rings in 5 years.
And when Doug Peterson left Reid's system for Philly and immediately won a Super Bowl, that didn't just sting the Chiefs. It definitively proved that the system is portable and elite. The coaches who learn it are high-demand goods.
The machine is just engineered for high performance. They've consistently led the league in offensive yards in their peak seasons, averaging over 400 yards per game. But that success creates a ripple effect beyond the field. We have to talk about the locker room and the media gravity here.
The locker room vibe is so crucial. A departure like Nagy's is more than a schematic loss. It's an emotional one. He's seen by players like Mahomes for his energy and creativity, the things that keep a long season from getting stale.
And Kelce would call him family.
Right. You lose a culture carrier, which means the next OC, whether he's internal or external, has to not only manage the X's and O's, but also rebuild that interpersonal capital immediately.
And yet, the Chiefs seem almost insulated from disaster because of their front office wizardry. You have to give so much credit to GM Brett Veach.
He's been a master at reloading that roster.
Especially managing the cap implications of Mahomes' massive $450 million contract.
That contract forces constant, cheap turnover. They can't afford to pay big money for veteran depth. It means they have to draft well, and more importantly, they must promote effectively from within the coaching staff.
So losing 2 top coordinators in one cycle, Nagy and potentially Spags.
It means they have to be absolutely surgical in their replacements. They have to ensure that system continuity isn't compromised because of financial necessity.
And we can't ignore the elephant in the room, the high-profile romance between Travis Kelce and a certain pop icon that has just thrust this franchise into a whole new global dimension.
A completely new dimension, yeah.
Sources confirmed her appearances alone boosted broadcast ratings by 20%. This blending of sports and entertainment means every single coaching move is now headline news. It just increases the organization's gravity.
When she changes a lyric to "Karma is the guy on the Chiefs," that's pop culture validating the strength of the whole system. The media spotlight is brighter than it has ever been.
Which makes it essential that the Chiefs look completely buttoned up during a transition like this.
And that spotlight is leverage for the Titans. Snagging a coordinator from KC gives them instant credibility. It gives them a theoretical path to revitalizing their offense, which they desperately need, especially with a promising young QB like Will Levis.
Nagy's RPO philosophy could immediately unlock Levis's mobility and his quick processing power.
The perfect fit on paper.
So let's bring this back to the core challenge here. This deep dive really shows that the Chiefs' organizational influence is immense. They're not just competitors, they are effectively the league's unofficial coaching factory. They're fueling rebuilding efforts across the NFL.
They really are.
So the immediate question for you, the listener, is whether the foundation, that Reid-Veach system, is robust enough to withstand losing both key coordinators in the same hiring cycle, especially given that red zone dip we talked about.
That is the ultimate test of the dynasty's durability. We've seen them adapt, but losing the offensive and defensive leaders at the same time is a totally unique challenge.
If Nagy does leave, my prediction for the immediate future is that the Chiefs will prioritize philosophical continuity over some big-name external hire. They'll likely promote Joe Blameyer internally.
It makes the most sense.
It maintains the high-octane attack, it avoids a learning curve, and it's financially savvy. It keeps the system running smoothly under the huge shadow of that Mahomes cap number.
The underlying truth remains. Despite the personnel carousel, the KC system has proven it can endure and replicate success.
Exactly. So here is the closing provocation for you. Does this wave of departures signal the beginning of the end for the Chiefs dynasty? Is the talent pool finally draining? Or is this, conversely, the ultimate, most undeniable proof that their system is so elite, so perfected, that it can consistently restock the entire NFL with top coaching talent while still securing Super Bowl berths for itself? Something for you to consider as you watch whether that machine just keeps churning through this wild card weekend and beyond.